Half-Life, Alyx, the absolute killer app for VR. Pros of game: exceptional immersion, good moments of freaking out. Very interesting gravity gloves. Several thoughtful modes of travel. Well-felt interventions by Russell. Outstanding weapon handling. Good lifespan. Perfect. Half-Life Alyx obviously isn't. In particular, it has to deal with multiple technical constraints. Still, despite these material contingencies, Half-Life Alyx is an adventure of great beauty that we follow with constantly renewed pleasure. VR finally has its killer app. Impossible to start this selection without mentioning this monument of VR that is Half-Life, Alyx. If Valve only releases a few games, Gabe Newell's company has this insolent tendency to make each title a true masterpiece. And this new experience in the mythical Half-Life franchise dedicated to VR is obviously no exception. The events depicted in this game take place 5 years before those of Half-Life 2 and place us in the shoes of Alyx Vance as the cartel begins to impose its law on City 17. Young resistant, Alyx will have to thwart a plot of stature and free his father from the yoke of his oppressors. If the latest game from Valve is today a monument of VR, it is in particular thanks to sumptuous, but greedy, graphics and gameplay that makes wonderful use of the capabilities of VR. All this by mixing different phases of play with an impressive mastery. Anyone with a helmet should buy one. No more no less. To play this game you will need a PC and a VR headset. Resident Evil 7, the pinnacle of horrific immersion. Pros of game: a nice use of the new first-person perspective, especially in VR. A playground for claustrophobia, many particularly horrific situations. The first installment in a new trilogy in the legendary Resident Evil franchise, this 7th installment offers a radically different approach to horror with a first-person camera. Claustrophobic, creepy and devilishly immersive, especially in VR, Resident Evil 7 is one of the most horrifying titles in the cult saga. Already present in our selection of the best horror games, Resident Evil 7 continues to make headlines thanks to a VR version extremely well calibrated for the media. Exclusive to PSVR, this is without a doubt one of the must-try games today with the PS4 VR headset. There is indeed nothing quite like living one of the best horrific experiences of recent years through the perspective offered by VR. The immersion is increased tenfold and this feeling of claustrophobia is pushed to its climax. We really have the impression of embodying Ethan Winters and being plunged with him into an endless nightmare. Even in the fights, the tension is pushed to its maximum when we have to reload our weapon with trembling hands while a monstrous creature rushes at us to devour us. Simply one of the most visceral VR experiences. Game available on PlayStation VR. Blade and Amp, Sorcery. A bloody and enjoyable sandbox. Pros of game: ultra enjoyable gameplay. Superbly calibrated physics engine. Huge freedom thanks to mods. If you want to let off steam by slicing through anything that moves or using magic while getting some exhilarating exercise, Blade and Amp, Sorcery has no equal. This independent game literally takes you to the guts and continues to evolve thanks to the work of the studio and the modders. A real butcher's shop to consume without moderation. If slicing, smashing, burning, electrocuting or levitating anything that moves is your thing and you need a heart-pounding but fun workout to blow off steam after a long day, Blade and Amp, Sorcery is the place to go. For you. In development for 4 years now, this title from Warp Frog is a real gem of VR. While it doesn't yet have a fully told story, Blade and Amp, Sorcery still offers a myriad of ways to have fun with an immense arsenal and an incredibly compelling physics engine. You can indeed grab almost anything, even your opponents, and inflict the worst abuse on them by applying enough force to your blows. Thanks to a very engaged community of modders, Blade and Amp, Sorcery promises a butcher's shop with virtually endless possibilities. It's even possible to use the Force or Star Wars weapons. We can't say it enough. This title is a VR must-have for any fan of medieval fantasy release. To play this game you will need a PC and a VR headset. Vader Immortal, the Force VR, pros of game: embody a Jedi in VR. What else? A well-constructed story centered around Vader. superbly calibrated gameplay for VR. Through its 3 episodes with solid writing centered on the indescribable Darth Vader, Vader Immortal allows us to dream by embodying a Jedi as no other game has yet done, and the result appears neither more nor less like a canon of VR games. Speaking of Star Wars, the legendary franchise already boasts plenty of excellent VR-exclusive titles. Among them, Vader Immortal clearly stands out by offering us a 3-part adventure centered around the legendary Darth Vader and our character in whom the Force is powerful. All the elements are thus present to offer one of the best Star Wars experiences in virtual reality. With an emphasis on wielding the Force and a lightsaber, Vader Immortal is quite simply the most immersive Jedi experience yet. This is obviously ensured by perfectly calibrated controls for VR, in an adventure with many twists and epic gameplay phases. Any Star Wars fan with a helmet should add Vader Immortal, priced at $25 in all, to their collection. And we don't need to use Force persuasion to convince you of that. Game available on PC with VR headset, Oculus and PSVR. Beat Saber, a dance of the senses with lightsabers. Pros of game: simply addictive gameplay. Difficulty going crescendo. Unlimited lifespan thanks to mods. Even those without a VR headset must have heard of Beat Saber, which is probably the most addictive rhythm game there is. Apart from its easy-to-learn and hard-to-master gameplay, it's mainly thanks to the mods allowing you to play virtually any music that make it an absolutely essential VR game. Released 4 years ago, Beat Saber is undoubtedly a must-have VR game. Beat Games has managed the feat of offering a simple-to-learn and addictive rhythm game, while adapting it to virtual reality. The result is a ballet that plunges us into a real trance as we cut cubes in time with lightsabers. If the gameplay is relatively easy to learn, Beat Saber certainly does not lack depth, and the songs played will quickly increase in difficulty, putting our coordination and even our whole body to the test. In addition to being an excellent game, the title of Beat Games turns out to be a very good way to exercise. Relatively limited in the pieces it offers natively, Beat Saber shines above all thanks to a very active community which has adapted virtually all the pieces of the creation into tracks of cubes to be cut happily. The experience is thus intended to be even more enjoyable when you perform flawlessly on your favorite songs. For all these reasons, Beat Saber is a must-have for anyone new to the small but very welcoming VR family. Game available on PC with VR headset, Oculus and PSVR. Lone Echo 2. Unique zero-G weightlessness. Pros of game: graphically sublime. An incredible immersion in space. A captivating story. The latest swan song of the Oculus Rift, Lone Echo 2 is the kind of experience that only VR can offer for total immersion. In addition to superb plastic and playability perfectly calibrated for the media, the title of Ready at Dawn takes you into a captivating story in the vacuum of space. A true star of VR games. Space has always been the dream of Earthlings camped on dry land, and VR has obviously been a platform on which the experience has proven to be the most convincing. But no title has been able to top Lone Echo and its sequel on this star-studded terrain. The second opus, exclusive to the late Oculus Rift, but which can be played on the Quest 2 via Airlink, is the perfect illustration of this. In addition to absolutely superb plastic for a VR game, Ready at Dawn succeeded with Lone Echo 2 in truly making us experience zero-G weightlessness like no other game has managed to do. Floating in space and gazing at the stars has simply never been so immersive. In addition to being a graphic showcase and an exceptional ambassador for VR, Lone Echo 2 offers us a captivating story that gives meaning to this superb space epic. A magnificent swan song for the Oculus Rift, which therefore largely deserves its place in the pantheon of VR games. Game available on Oculus. SUPERHOT VR. Bullet time and pole dance bar. Pros of game: simple aim, devilishly fun gameplay. Unique artistic direction. Many mini games. Despite its relatively short lifespan and its rail shooter style gameplay, SUPERHOT VR has never been dethroned despite its great age and is still today one of the best experiences that this medium can offer, in particular thanks to its unique artistic direction. SUPERHOT. Released in 2016, SUPERHOT VR is, so to speak, part of the furniture with its relatively classic rail shooter style gameplay. But unlike its formula on more traditional platforms, SUPERHOT Team's VR title has managed the feat of still being among the best VR games currently available. Even if our character remains static, the construction of the levels offers us an enjoyable experience sprinkled with bullet time, giving us the impression of being a character from the Matrix. This coupled with a unique art direction where our opponents are made of crystal, and you have the ultimate in VR action gaming. Its only downside is its extremely short lifespan, but the pleasure of killing opponents by playing with time has no equal at present. Many mini-games that spice up the experience and are conducive to scoring are also part of the game. A title to try urgently and immediately to adopt. And we have absolutely not been indoctrinated to advise you to do so. SUPERHOT. Game available on PC with VR headset, Oculus and PSVR. The Walking Dead, Saints and Amp, Sinners. The zombie apocalypse is really happening. Pros of game. Immersion that takes the guts. Gameplay viscerally adapted to VR. Gripping storyline with heartbreaking moral choices. Based on the hit multimedia work The Walking Dead, Saints and Amp, Sinners stands as one of the best video game representations of a zombie apocalypse today. Thanks to VR, confronting the living dead takes on a much more visceral turn, accompanied by difficult moral choices. You will not come out unscathed from the experience. The work of global success that is The Walking Dead has often been adapted into video games, and the result has rarely been convincing. The Telltale series and VR-exclusive Saints and Amp, Sinners, however, are superb exceptions. Skydance Interactive has indeed used virtual reality with rare mastery to make us experience a zombie apocalypse like never before. Immersed in the middle of Louisiana, our character will have to find a place in a world dominated by the living dead. The stage is set for a captivating story lined with heartbreaking moral choices, and gameplay that masterfully blends action and horrific survival. In Saints and Amp, Sinners, the pressure is constant as each level is played against the clock before an endless horde of zombies descends. It will therefore be necessary to act quickly, to choose to help survivors or not, and to fight the undead in a realistic way as only VR can offer. An adventure that won't leave anyone unscathed, and a truly cult game that should soon get a sequel that we'll be watching very closely. Game available on PC with VR headset, Oculus and PSVR. Moss. The magical breath of fresh air in VR. Pros of game. Refreshing gameplay for VR. Enchanting art direction. Cleverly constructed levels. While VR games mostly offer a first-person perspective, Moss blows an enchanting breath of fresh air by offering to guide the adorable mouse quill through levels that will make our gray matter spin. A real pearl of VR, in short. Radical change of atmosphere with Moss, an enchanting game that offers a very original approach to VR. Far from the ultra-immersive first-person action, the title of Polyarch offers us this time to lead the adorable mouse quill in his own adventure. Thanks to our elevated point of view, we will be able to show our cute little companion the way to follow in very intelligently constructed levels. Skillfully combining adventure with rather original combat and puzzle games, Moss is thus a rare VR experience that is well worth the detour. To spoil nothing, the title offers a particularly enchanting artistic direction that is aimed at young and old alike. A VR game for the whole family, which should be entitled to a sequel entitled Moss, Book 2. We can't wait to find the adorable Quill for his next adventures. Game available on PC with VR headset, Oculus and PSVR. BONEWORKS. VR work to the bone. Pros of game. Graphically very solid. VR-based gameplay. Mind-blowingly realistic physics engine. If you're looking for the ultimate VR sandbox experience, BONEWORKS will satisfy your wildest dreams. Thanks to a gameplay that exploits the media wonderfully well and an impressively realistic physics engine, you won't want to take off your headphones anymore. A game that literally turns the brain. To conclude our selection of the best VR games, we couldn't decently miss one of its best ambassadors called BONEWORKS. The title of Stress Level Zero bears the DNA of Valve games unmistakably and presents neither more nor less than one of the gameplays that best use the unique properties of VR. It is indeed a huge sandbox based on different test rooms asking who to solve puzzles related to physics and gravity, who to slaughter automatons with a particularly varied arsenal. In addition to its gameplay, it is also its graphics, its artistic direction and its physics engine that make BONEWORKS a unique experience. If you're looking for the best VR has to offer, you've definitely come to the right place. Game available on PC with VR headset. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe on my channel. And write in comments what is your favorite VR games.